we're going to get a UK take on a United States problem. And that United States problem is that, and if I butcher the statistic, forgive me, public, but it's something like, I believe, 82% of schools in the United States from K through college have experienced some kind of regular cyber incident or attack. I have some opinions on why we're not effectively solving this. I have two schools of thought, but I would love to get your opinion as somebody that plays in this space a lot and knows what needs to be done and knows the motivations for getting it done. Why is it not getting done? Why are we not figuring it out?
Zach, I think that's an excellent question, but it's got a multifaceted answer from what I've seen. So I got into cybersecurity as a focus point about 15 years ago, when antivirus was just coming on the scene, and no one wanted to buy antivirus because there weren't a lot of viruses, but they didn't think it was necessary. So picture that same scene and then fast forward it. You've got all these businesses, and schools are businesses, make no mistake. And the challenge is where do they put their money? Do they put it on making the school and the education better? Or do they put it on RT protection, if you can call it that? And the typical take of a budget like that in a school that normally doesn't have a lot of funds to deploy is, we'll do the most important things first that they think of. And cybersecurity is at the bottom of the list, purely because it's that attitude of, well, it's not going to happen to us. We're too small. Who's going to attack a school from a cyber perspective? But nothing can be further from the truth. So it's around, and that comes to lack of knowledge. We're not getting the story out as an industry, if I can call it that, that steers away from the fear concept and goes back to, look, this is just good common sense as to how you should act in a business. So whether it's a school or not,
right.
They don't have the correct focus. Put it plainly, I think that's what
I think you're probably right. It drives me crazy on my side because it seems like you have to protect in any society. You have to protect the least capable of protecting themselves. And that's children, it's the disabled, it's the elderly, those types of communities. You have to have systems in place to make sure that they're properly taken care of. It seems like allowing regular interference, whether it be from foreign actors or from internal actors, to either be getting really private. I mean, a school has medical information, psychological information. You've got a therapist there. You've got really serious behavioral information that's collected. And then your intellectual capacity is that's important, And
Yeah.
Are we moving into a world where, it's like draft selection on Madden, where people are looking at kids way, way early on and starting to either be pricing, their future career pathways or whatever else? And is that sharing of that data, are we not thinking more critically about how giving that information away could really negatively affect those people? I mean, we already live in a world where people can be super target marketed to. Now, imagine an 8-year-old that doesn't understand marketing, or a world before cell phones, or a world before everybody knew everything about you. It's really hard then I think, to make your own decisions and have agency in the decision-making process with, well, what do I like, or what am I, predispositions to want to engage with, or whatever I'm good at. And I think we're really, in my opinion, in the States, and this is a stat based in the States, I think we are missing what is something like a super, super important thing that we need to be protecting. And I think we're just, you're to your point, it's like phoom, way over our heads.
Yeah, yeah. I
Some
mean,
of me wonder, go ahead, go ahead.
the minute you've got access to the internet,
Yeah.
that's when trouble starts. So, I know from a lot of smaller clients and in the education sector and that area, a lot of clients say, well, as I said, we're small and we don't really use IT a lot. And the minute all the good things that you've spoken about are accessible through the internet and to the internet. So the minute someone starts Googling something and going into a search engine and looking for information, they're exposing themselves. I mean, you go and start looking for cat food, for example, on Google, and suddenly you're getting all these ads start pitching up around where to go and get your cat food from and making you all these offers. Now, the problem is, I think a large portion of society doesn't understand how that works. You know, I speak to people and they go, well, I Googled it and it gave me this answer. And I said, yeah, it gives you the answer you're looking for because it reads what you want. You want to know about something in a positive light, you're going to get it in a positive light. If you look for that same information, but on the contrary to on a negative light, you're going to get information on a negative light. And people generally don't understand that. They don't understand how powerful those engines are, those search engines are, and where all your data goes. And and then don't get me started on AI. But I mean, it's because then the danger
Right.
is exponentially greater.
And the
So
amount of information that's shared is exponentially greater because
massive,
you
massive.
go to Google for like, well, what was this, where do I go for this, or what was the sports score, and you can kind of get some like, oh, he's a Steelers fan, oh, he needs to go to Lowe's, but you get into AI and you're like, all right, this is exactly the situation that's happening with my family member, am I the asshole? And you get, what I mean, and you start getting a lot more
Yeah.
detailed information. You know what I mean? Like, this is exactly what's going on with my car. Not just I need to go to Lowe's. You know what I mean? Now it's like, and it's to your point, it's exponentially
So,
more
but
impactful.
it's exactly that type of thing. So picture anyone can get that type of information. What's stopping them getting that information about data in the school? I mean, it's available. It's going to be available,
Right.
and there's information that's being gleaned out of these databases that, once again, people have got no idea what they're actually releasing into the public domain. No idea.
So you don't think it's a cost thing? You don't think that it's a greed? You don't think it's a not attributing where it needs to be, or service providers not offering up solutions to these? You don't think it's something like that? Do you think it's more of an ignorance based issue?
It once again is
I think you're
multifaceted. It's
probably
a,
right.
it's a
Yeah, there's
combination
probably
of.
yeah.
I mean, I had a coffee meeting with a mate of mine this morning, and he's a small MSP. He's got maybe 6 clients. Largest client's got 30 people. He deals with mom and pop type stores, and to try and convince them to be proactive around just the IT provision. We're not even talking security. We're not even talking firewalls, antivirus, all the good cybersecurity type stuff.
Right.
Just talking about you need to have the right version of Windows, you need to have the right patches, and you need to, you need to make sure that you can be supported. So that if your laptop or your PC dies, you are able to carry on working because you've got a backup plan. Most of those mom and pop stores are the view, and the schools will be like that as well.
Yeah.
It breaks. We wait till it breaks, then we'll fix it.
Right.
And I think that's the mentality out there because it is so easy to fix it and quite quickly. You can go down to Walmart and get a laptop in minutes. I mean, you can get Amazon to deliver it to you in a couple of hours. So why must I be prepared for that stuff? I can go down. I can while I'm having a cup of coffee, my system's been up and running again. But it takes away the fact that you've got to proactively manage these situations. So whether it's making sure all the kids at school are aware of the social stories and what have you, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, whether it's TikTok or whatever it is,
That's a good
that
point.
they're aware of that as well. And I think that's where I get concerned in the school area, that if the school itself doesn't know what they should be doing,
They
how
can't guide.
on earth are they gonna tell the kids
Yeah.
what to do and how to be digitally aware? I mean, the kids are digital. I mean, they know how to use everything way before adults do, but they're not aware of the dangers of it.